Hey, what's up, family? This video here today is for any and all y'all out there, especially a lot of y'all out there that you know your life should be expecting change. So therefore, I'm gonna title this video, Time for Change. And that applies to you and anyone out there. If you are not getting the productivity or the progression that you think and you know you deserve, you need to know and understand it's time for change. Now let me just run down a couple of scenarios for you when I say time for change, because it's definitely time for change. You should be doing better today than you was doing yesterday, last month, last year. You should be definitely doing better than you was last decade, 10 years ago. So, time for change. Let me just start off with saying this here. Look at a lot of you people out there. If you are working a job where you get up in the morning and you dread going to work, you feel a chagrin about going to work. And as always, you know I love to give y'all a word of the day. So that's going to be the word of the day, chagrin. It's spelled C-H-A-G-R-I-N. And if you look up the word, it simply means distress or humiliation at feeling like a failure. You know, or you could say like an annoyance, humiliation, or you feeling real vexed about something. You know, something that really pisses you off. Now think about it. If you're that type of person, you're working a job, and every morning you get up and you dread going to work because you feel such an annoyance. Remember, chagrin. You feel like such a chagrin to go to work, where you be like, damn it, I gotta go to work today. Doggone it. Man, I can't stand this job. Man, if that supervisor or that manager say this to me today, I'm just gonna snap. If you are feeling like that, it's time for change. You should not be letting nothing or no one make you feel in such a depressed situation. It's time for change. Do not let the insanity of other things and other people be the reason you don't realize it's time for change. Remember, Albert Einstein got quoted for saying that very statement, where he said, insanity is the product of you're doing the same thing over and over and again, but you expecting different results. That's insane. So think about it. It's time for change. Do not be insanity going on in your head. It's insane that you are working the same job and you keep saying, man, next year I'm gonna leave this job. Man, next month I'm gonna leave this job. But here it is 5 years later. You're still there. You're still stressed. You know what stress will do to a person, especially if you got pre-existing medical conditions, and now you letting the stress of your job, the stress of people, and you're still dealing with insanity. Remember, doing the same thing over and over again, but you expecting different results. No, it's time for change. You should not be at no job that you can't stand. You feel a chagrin with that job. Remember, it's like an annoyance, humiliation, vex. You feel a chagrin when dealing with that job. It's time for change. Think about it. Let's move on. You know, because a lot of us have jobs we really don't like. I remember being at a job where I was amongst a bunch of guys that's been there 30, 40 years. And every day they talking about, I can't stand this job. Man, don't you get stuck in this job. Don't you be. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean you can't stand this job? How long you been working here? You've been working here 35, 40 years. But what are you going to tell me you hate the job, but you're still here? See, that's the person you don't want to be. Every day you hate your job, but you come to your job. Now, before you know it, those are the people who look older than what they truly are. Do not be a chagrin, you know, an annoyance, humiliation, vexed about something all the time, feeling like a failure. Let's move on. When I say time for change, you need to change your lifestyle if you're not happy with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Time for change. I hate to give you this story, but it's very valid with what I'm talking about when I say it's time for change. Let's talk about this young lady, very unfortunate life that she was dealing with. Young lady in Chicago, way back in the days. Remember, she had, I don't know if it was 3 sons or 5, but the way the story went, this was a true story. She never realized, or maybe she did, but she just couldn't break through time for change and get it through your head. All her sons, she lived in a very violent area. And what happened to her son? One son got shot down and killed due to crime and violence in that area. Did she realize it's time for change and move on? Or maybe she did, but she just couldn't for whatever reasons. But you gotta say, I don't care what the reason. It's time for change. Son got killed. Stayed in that community, that area. Next thing you know, her next son got killed. Next thing you know, her next one, and so on and so on. This was a shame that this woman, every one of her sons got killed. And she never said, time to pack up my stuff, and it's doggone it time for change. We got to get the hell up out of here. We need to live in a better area, a safe area. But I do understand some people don't have the financial means for time for change. Some people don't have the family support, or whatever support. That touched on another one of my videos. It's called just that, support system. If you got a support system, build it strong. Stop using people just to get what you want, and then you throw away that support system. You might need them later to get over that bridge, so don't burn that bridge. Remember, time for change. It's very unfortunate what happened to that lady, and it always stays in my head. It resonates with me because, doggone it, that was so unfortunate. She didn't realize, or maybe for whatever circumstances, she couldn't make time for change to happen for her, and she wound up losing all her sons. So heart goes out to her. But a lot of y'all out there, stop being afraid to say, you know what? It's time for me to get up out of that job. It's time for me to get up out of that community where it's not no good. It's time for me to stop being around my gossiping ass friends. It's time for me to stop being around my negative family members and coworkers and friends where they ain't got nothing to do but keep gossiping. I'm always caught up in defending my name because of gossip, what they're doing. I'm always caught up in a fight or this and that because of the nonsense that they're doing, and I'm affiliated with them, and I never realized it's a time for change. I gotta disengage myself from them. It is a time for change. If your finances is not in order, you keep running up your credit cards. You keep falling for the nonsense, and then you keep saying, man, I just can't get ahead in life. It's time for change. It's time for you to change your financial reasons of why you keep doing this nonsense. Remember, insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over, but then you're expecting different results. It's not going to happen. It's time for change. Stop being a sucker to the nonsense. You got to impress other people that you really don't care about you, but you're doing everything to try to impress them. Never realize you keep digging yourself deeper and deeper in the hole. It's time for change. A lot of y'all out there also, stop falling for the government bull crap. It's like, hey, listen, how about all the times when you applied for a credit card, right? I always got denied. How ironic. As soon as you graduate high school, you get into college, all of a sudden credit cards come piling in. And before you know it, you spending. And next you know, you're like, oh, I'm $200,000 in debt. Insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Isn't it crazy how the government do? Keep denying you credit cards, but when you get in college, they all approve you like crazy. How many other parents out there? This touches on another one of my videos called Why I'm So Anti-College. How many of us, they fall for the bull jump? Whereas, refinance your house to put your kid through college. Go get this loan, put your kid through college. Now, before you know it, it's 4 years later, your kid's right before graduation, and they drop out. Meanwhile, you in debt with that refinance you did to put your kid through college. Your kid is in debt with the college loans that he took out with that. You fell for the okie doke, the insanity thing that you're falling for, but never realize it's time for change. I'm not gonna fall for this nonsense. You really need to understand what freedom and liberty really is. And when you really understand that, because it is a difference, even though you look up both definitions, they kind of coincide with each other, there is a difference. But when you really truly you are free from debt, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling because that's when you realize it's time for change. Stop falling for the government bull junk of falling for all the okie doke. Like they give you the cheese, the mouse to the cheese. Yeah, here's the cheese, you fall for it. This is what the government doing constantly. Feeding you little cheese or bird droppings and you keep going for them. You keep going for them like a sucker. And they like, man, they sitting back like, all of us up here in our affluent neighborhoods and the White House and all these people that make the rules, they like, we don't pay taxes. We don't follow these rules. We make the rules for you suckers. Sheeple. That's what we do. Sheeple. We looking for you. Sheeple. We looking for you suckers to realize they don't understand what time for change is. You got to go into your inner thoughts. Call upon the ancestors, whatever it is that works for you. You know what I'm saying? To say it's time for change. But what I gotta stop doing is the same nonsense over and over again and keep falling for the sucker stuff. I remember a time, I'll give you a personal story of mine, when I realized I was at that crossroad of young and dumb, getting a little maturity, and realize it's time for change. I ain't gonna keep falling for the nonsense. I remember one time I was at this job way back in the days, and while we was at the sort letters, we was doing the work, me and this other dude, we was talking. He was on that side, I was on this side, and we talking, but we working. We never slowed down or nothing. And I remember the one supervisor came, he said, hey, Henry, you better get to work. You better get to work and stop all this talking. And I was like, what? I ain't stopped working, man. I'm still working. But I'm still working, and we talk. We like, yeah, man, blah, 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 right? And then next thing you know, the boss. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. What I mean by maturity kicks in. I was at that crossroad. So on this, next thing you know, the boss man came out. Remember, I never slowed down. I never stopped. working. We was talking and working, doing the letters. Next thing you know, the boss came by, and while I'm sorting the letters, right, freaking Joker gonna come up behind me, because they knew at the time I was a firecracker, just ready to snap all the time, ready, real vexed, you know, just so annoyed on that chagrin about me all the time, annoyance, humiliation, vexed all the time, ready to snap. Anyway, while I'm sorting, like I said, never stop talking. I never stopped talking, never stopped working, never slowed down. This Joker came up behind me, the boss, and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, come here. Like I'm some little damn kid. And then we get off to the side. He go, hey, listen, you're going to stop talking. You're going to get this work together. You're slowing down the whole operation. So I said, what? You know, I was ready to snap. But then I said, you remember, I was at the crossroads of ignorant, young and dumb. Maturity's kicking in now. You know, I realize it's time for change. I can't keep snapping all the time. And when he said that to me, like, you're going to stop doing all this talking. And I said, you know what? Let's say his name was Mike. I was like, you know what, Mike? You absolutely right. I said, you know, I'll tell you what, let me get back to this sort so I can speed this up so we can all get up out of here. Let's get this production going. You absolutely right. And when I said that, he was like, okay. Like, see, he was lost. You see, I got him because he was expecting confrontation, but I didn't give it to him. So instead, he was stuck like, oh, he didn't fall for my bull jump. See, the maturity had kicked in at that time. I'm not falling for your nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. At that point in my life, the maturity kicked in where I realized it's time for change. I can't keep snapping all the time. So a lot of y'all out there, I don't care if it's your job, it's the neighborhood you live in, your family and friends, you know, whatever it is, death has approached you time and time again. That's another thing I like to talk about. A lot of y'all out there, y'all need to understand, because I done spoke on this plenty of times before, it's time for change. You should knock it off with the nonsense that you only go amongst family and friends when somebody died. Every time somebody died, your silly butt at the damn funeral saying the same insanity type of phrase. And that phrase is, well, I come to show my respects to the family. Well, where was your respect when they was alive? Let me explain something to you fools that only do that. You only show up when somebody died at a funeral. If you're gonna only show up at a person's funeral, well, doggone it, realize it's time for change. At least have the common sense to been paying a premium on their life insurance. Have life insurance on that person at least. Because now when they pass, you got money to bury them securely, financially, but you also got something to line your pockets with. Let me tell you something. A lot of y'all don't realize out there, most people in this world, their first real touch of financial gain was because they prepared when somebody died. They prepared. They have been paying a life insurance policy. So stop thinking that, oh man, these white people over here and these people over here, they got money. Let me tell you something. You go down the family tree line, you'll find out what they did to get that financial liberty. So understand what I'm saying. Let me try to make it real short and simple. If you're gonna only show up at a person's family and friends when someone died, then you a fool. You have not realized that it's time for change. And that time for change is that if you only gonna show up at a funeral every time, then at least have daggone life insurance where you could say, this life insurance is gonna help me and my family out. But it also could help me bury them securely. You get what I'm saying? It's time for change. Stop doing the same old nonsense again. I'm gonna say that last quote from Albert Einstein, like he said. He was quoted for saying, it is insane, insane/insane. It is insane for you to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You are a fool. It is time for change. Stop being a chagrin. That's the word of the day. Chagrin simply means an annoyance, humiliation, vex. When you're feeling annoyed and humiliated by some type of failure in life, you like, dang man. Like I said, that person every day, you get up for work and you don't want to go to work. You don't like that job. You don't like the manager there. Your credit is horrible. You've not been working on your credit. You just keep digging a deeper hole and you're wondering, how I keep getting in this jam. All you women out there, you keep choosing suckers as your men. And then he beat me. I had to put a restraining order on him. I had to leave him. Why you always keep being with a guy that keep beating you? Is it you? Maybe it's you. How is it that every guy you would put their hands on you? It's something you're doing. For you dumbass dudes out there, why is you always with some girl who she is useless? She can't help, she's just pretty. After one day you wake up and you go, what I'm doing with your pretty butt? I could do better without you. Like women love to say to us, I could do better all by myself. Why is you with her? Why do you keep falling for women that just got a pretty face, but they can't cook, they can't clean, they can't put their damn finances in order? Why you keep being with bums? Time for change. Change that logic of thinking. It is time for change. I'm not gonna keep it too long. See, I was getting a little emotional there because I'm sick of jokers doing stupid stuff. Like I said, it's insane. You keep doing the same stuff and expecting different results. It's time for change. On that note, I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace. Time for change. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. Peace.